Welcome to the Same Side Selling Podcast. I am your host, Ian Altman. On this episode, it came to me through an email from one of our listeners who said, I'd love to hear a little bit about selling through channel partners. And that is what we are going to discuss today. When it comes to channel partners, recognize that could mean one of two things. That could mean that you are a supplier who has channel partners who in essence sell your products and services in addition to their own. You might have independent reps who sell your products, or it could be a situation where you are reselling someone else's products and services and they become your channel partner. And now at that level, you're often selling and sometimes your channel partner comes along as well. And so what I want to talk about is both of those scenarios, the biggest mistakes that I see happen in those areas that could make it so things don't work out so well, and how we uncover those. So the first thing is, if you're the one reselling others and you bring in your partner, the biggest mistake that I see happen is that there's no advanced planning. It's kind of like, oh yeah, our supplier is going to be in the area. They're going to come to the meeting. And what you need to have is, if you're meeting with a potential client, do you have an agreed upon plan going into that meeting? Have you delineated roles and contacts within that meeting? Meaning, look, I don't want the client pitting one of us against the other, or all of a sudden having my channel partner doing something behind the scenes that we're not aware of. The idea is that we need to be joined at the hip and have a common strategy. You just want to avoid that situation where the client feels like, well, if I can't get it from you, I'll get it from your partner. You want to make sure that you're always getting that consistent information. I know that as a professional speaker, if someone reaches out to us through a speaker bureau, we absolutely respect that relationship. And if the client in turn comes to us directly, we'll immediately respond and put them back through our channel partner, in essence, the speaker bureau, because it's their relationship. So we want to make sure that in that case, your partner is always funneling those conversations back through you. You're the relationship. You have that with the client. We also want to make sure, and this is something that's a big gap, is oftentimes what people forget to do is they don't necessarily have a clear understanding of what everyone's getting out of this opportunity. So you bring a partner to a meeting without clear expectations, the partner's thinking, oh, well, we're going to get orders for 10 of these pieces. And you're thinking, actually, it's going to be 2 units and we're going to provide all these other services. As long as everyone knows and has common expectations going into it, you can have a good conversation and you can actually get great value from bringing a partner. If you don't set those expectations, that's when things get a little bit messed up. So now let's talk about the other side, which is, what about when you are the supplier and now you have channel partners? The first thing you need to recognize is that the other people selling your products and services will never be as passionate, never be as dogged pursuing opportunities as you would be. And you're making a decision that says, we're not going to have as big of a direct sales force. We're going to use these channel partners that have relationships, and we might not be the top priority all the time. That's okay. When we reach out and we start training and providing additional support for our partners, what I want you to ask yourself is this: are your top partners those with the most in-depth product knowledge, or are your top partners the ones who are best at helping customers realize why they might need your products and services? And what I will tell you is that almost uniformly, it's the latter. It's less about the people who know every nuance about the product, and it's more the people who say, I know who needs this. I know what symptoms we should be looking for that might be an indication that they need this product or service. They also need to understand what questions should they be asking, and what's the right process that drives success. And how do we, when we work with our channel partners in the field, how are we coordinating together in those meetings? What's the structure of those meetings to find out if this is a real opportunity or not? In essence, what I find is that for manufacturers, for people who distribute products and have a channel, oftentimes what happens is at the sales kickoff meeting or your annual conference, there's a ton of time spent on product features and capabilities that people can honestly watch in a video and get all the information they need. There's less time spent on how do we actually sell? And how do we identify the right opportunities? How do we qualify? How do we accelerate the process? And when you do that, you can achieve extraordinary results. We just had some people this month on the Same Side Selling Academy Coaches Corner, which is our monthly live coaching session, where we're talking about success stories. And 5 or 6 people in a row cited deals that happened that were dramatically larger than a typical deal, where the deals happen in less than half the time of their typical sales cycle. And when you asked each of those people, what did you do? They all followed the same process. Well, we started with this. Then we introduced the client vision pyramid. Then we navigated through the quadrants. We always focused on what was important to the client, not what it is that we were selling, but rather what it is that we were solving. Those are the types of things that in direct sales as well as in channel sales, those are the things that move the needle. So remember, when it comes to channel sales, recognize that it could be that you're reselling someone else's products, in which case you want to have a clear strategy for them and how you're going to work together. And if you're the supplier and other people are your channel partners, you want to make sure that instead of spending all this time focused on product features and benefits and training, instead we focus on what's the right way to find opportunities to help accelerate the process, to shift the focus from price to results, and ultimately ensure that you have high success with your clients and great collaboration with your channel partners. If there are topics you'd like to hear, drop me a note to ian@ianaltman.com. Please feel free to like, share, subscribe. Always happy to have other people as part of this community. And we look forward to seeing you next week on the Same Side Selling Podcast. So long.